Robert J. Morella, aka Gorilla Monsoon. Located in the Lakeview Memorial Park in Cinnaminson, which is Burlington County, New Jersey. He's actually buried next to his son, about, I would say, 300 yards in front of the office. He died at the age of 62. Gorilla Monsoon, and once again, I am Thomas, and I just wanted to come to this cemetery to pay my respects. That is a picture of Gorilla Monsoon as a wrestler. Yes, he was a wrestler. Now, in my childhood, I'm approaching 43 now. I remember Gorilla Monsoon back in the olden days in WWF as being a play-by-play guy with synonymous. Wherever you've seen Gorilla Monsoon in the old WWF, you always seen Bobby the Brain Heenan, and they were a very comedic duel at times, like the good and the bad. Bobby the Brain Heenan would throw in some controversial, disparaging remarks about a wrestler sometimes, and Gorilla Monsoon would kind of jump in and say, "Would you stop, please?" and kind of keep him in line and kind of steer the ship back in the way it was supposed to be, focusing on the match and focusing on good and not trying to bring up, scandalous stuff. Even if you don't remember Gorilla Monsoon from years gone by, you might hear, if you're watching the WWE or even AEW or even other wrestling companies, you will often hear the phrase gorilla position, meaning back in the day it was synonymous with Gorilla Monsoon, because he would, that's where he would be found during WWF shows late in his career. It's like a staging area just behind the entrance curtain at like any given event, a live show, a TV show. Gorilla Monsoon was always observing, helping, producing. He was, he was everywhere in wrestling. Before all this happened, before he was a play-by-play guy, he was wrestling. He was a wrestler. He was known as Gino Morella, kind of a proud Italian American babyface. Babyface is a good guy. That's another term for a good guy. And he would sing in Italian prior to his matches. Even after changing his ring name, Gino stuck as Morella's nickname among friends and colleagues, including Jesse Ventura, who would often say Gino, like when he was on air with him. If you would listen closely, Gorilla Monsoon worked in federations and places of like Toronto, Calgary, St. Louis, Japan. And while working there, he was doing all right. He kind of realized that fans, at least is his opinion, and I think he's right, fans paid more attention to the heel or the bad guy. That's what they paid to see, and that's what made money. So Morella changed his image and grew a beard. I guess that's what you need to do, even nowadays. Changing a look for the male talent. Grow a beard. Make him look villainous. A bad guy. And that's what he did. He was now a bad guy. And in his new persona, he spoke no English, ate raw meat, and drank his victim's blood. His first, that was the story though, given they changed it up when he was on WWF television. His manager, Bobby Davis, claimed to have discovered Monsoon wandering nude in a mountain stream. Huh. How about that? And in the ring, he was a guy that kind of just dominated his opponents with vicious chop. And his signature move was the airplane spin. The airplane spin. You pick your opponent up and you spin him around, and he gets all dizzy, and then you drop him. At least I think that's what the airplane spin is. If Muhammad Ali was around, you could ask him how that airplane spin was, because Gorilla Monsoon put him, the great Muhammad Ali, in the airplane spin. We fast forward now a couple of years. Morella, had a very, pretty successful in-ring career. We're now looking to him as, after his in-ring work, his retirement, he would become, and there you see the grave of Joseph Morella, his son, who was a referee, and he passed away too. But, and now in retirement, Morella would be teamed up, because Vince McMahon, the Vince McMahon that in 1982, needed a commentary team to head up TV programming. So it was Morella with also the recently retired Jesse the Body Ventura working as a team early on. They had great chemistry. I remember them as well, in the earlier days. And Ventura was kind of the pro heel, bad guy commentator. And Morella was for the good guy, making cases for the good guy. And Ventura would make cases for the bad guy, the person that you are supposed to hate. And Ventura would kind of justify why no, you shouldn't hate him. You should love him. And this duo of Ventura and Monsoon was kind of so successful that even to modern day now, this is what people kind of strive to kind of copy, emulate. You always want to face or a good guy and a heel, a bad guy commentary team. This is what a lot of people strive to hear, and this is apparently what works. So, Ventura eventually left the WWF in 1990, and he was then paired, Morella, with Bobby the Brain Heenan. Kind of, that's when you fast forward around that time. That's when I really at 8, 9 years old was paying attention to WWF, and that's really what I remember. It was a great team. Again, like I said, the yin to the yang. They would, the good guy and the bad guy. It was almost like a shtick. Morella, or Gorilla, and Bobby the Brain Heenan. He did various sketches together where, they would be arguing, again, good versus bad. Various sketches that they did for WWF programming along, with the commentary team, the commentary that they would do for wrestling events. And it was magical. If you listen to Bobby the Brain Heenan's induction speech, you heard that he wished that Gorilla Monsoon was there. Gorilla Monsoon unfortunately passed away pretty young, relatively young, at the age of 62 in 19 before Bobby the Brain Heenan was inducted. Remember, right after Jim Ross, who hasn't been with the company for quite a few years, Jim Ross wound up replacing Gorilla Monsoon. So he eventually gets moved to All American Wrestling with Lord Alfred Hayes, which was another great commentator, in April of 1993. So he was being phased out, and he eventually would even work the broadcast of SummerSlam 1993 on WWF Radio. How about that? You guys remember WWF Radio, Blast from the Past. He did King of the Ring 1994 with Randy Savage, as well as covering. He did a few episodes of Monday Night Raw in 93 and 94. That's whenever Vince McMahon was not available to commentate. And he did sporadic work, various work for Coliseum Video, which was a classic. Last really play-by-play was 1994. And he would remain in a backstage role and appeared on air frequently, storyline, various different storylines in that time, especially 95, where he would replace the WWF president, Jack Tunney, which was a storyline. Just a great broadcaster. I think, to me, one of the greatest. I mean, a lot of people say Jim Ross, which is fair, but Gorilla Monsoon is definitely one of the greatest, if not the greatest. Rest in peace, Gorilla Monsoon.